Hello there, and welcome to another of Andre's Artist Profiles. In my tradition of showcasing instrumentalists in music as much as popular singers, I am going to be profiling an artist and the band that he has been in. And I should note that this artist is the only consistent member of this band, which is why I'm profiling them. And he's also had some wonderful solo work, none of which I unfortunately have. And that is Mr. Neal Schon, who will be turning 60 today. What a lot of people don't realize about Journey is that it was actually a spin-off of Santana, since Mr. Schon and Greg Rowley came over from the Santana band. And this is their first album, self-titled, from 1975. A somewhat more jazz, fusion-influenced work than they would later become known for. Seems pretty appropriate since they came out of Santana, and there's somewhat of a Latin influence here. There's Neal Schon right there. I always love this cover art. Anyway, this is a very underrated album. If you're a Journey fan, I would really seek this out. It's very good. Their next album came out in 1976, and it was called Look Into the Future. Same lineup. The last album with that lineup, sorry for the cracked case, there's a couple of these in here, by the way, is Next, from 1977. There's Neal right there. I always loved his hairstyle. I really did. I like big hair. Anyway, the next album came out in 1978, and it was called Infinity. And this album was the introduction of none other than Steve Perry. Aside from Neal Schon, I think the person most associated with Journey. But that's another situation. You know, is it singer or instrumentalist? But they really started to take off with this album commercially. And this album from 1979, Evolution, they started to have bigger hits on a lot of these records, to be quite honest with you. Because, I guess Steve Perry just had the vocal mix that seemed to work for them, probably. I don't think Neal Schon's guitar playing was any hindrance, let's put it that way. He played with Jan Hammer and a lot of jazz people. I mean, he's a master as far as I'm concerned. And then there's the next album, Departure, which had a huge hit with Any Way You Want It. And Journey became more of a hard rock arena band at this point. And, you know, even some of their early Steve Perry albums had more of a funkier jazz fusion influence to a lot of the material. But this is the beginning of kind of the Journey that a lot of us know. The next album they put out was a live set in 1981 called Captured, when they were on tour for the Departure album. There's a picture of them right there. Neal's mugging there. This is the Journey album that everybody probably remembers, mainly because of this big hit called Don't Stop Believing. Some people really love this album. Some see it as a guilty pleasure. Oh, don't you just hate that word? It sounds so cynical. Sorry. Anyway, no, I'm not sorry. It is cynical. But the point is that this album was probably the first and only rock album to spin off a rather inadequate Atari video game called itself Journey Escape. And this is a very special album, and I actually really like this. I really do like Journey Escape. I mean, it's a good example of their arena rock concept album kind of idea, and I think the definitive Journey album in the minds of a lot of people. Kind of a classic rock album today from 1981. The next album was called Frontiers, recorded in 1983. And, of course, Separate Ways, Worlds Apart was the big hit. And they were still at a really big premium in terms of popularity at this point. Their next album was Raised on Radio from 1986. By this time, you know, Journey were not quite as popular as they'd been. Steve Perry had had a very big solo career. And the band had been pared down to a trio by this point. A power trio, actually. Which basically made them pretty much a lot like Rush. And there's only one Rush and there's only one Journey. And I don't know if that had anything to do with anything. But the fact is, Journey kind of slipped away after this for a while. Kind of went away. Steve Perry had a solo career and Neal Schon did other things. He was a member of Bad English, too. And the next album is Trial by Fire, which was a comeback album with Steve Perry in 1986. Again, more the original lineup, I guess, at that point. At least more members. So, that's what I have for Journey. I think they made a comeback, you know, more recently, but Anyway, Journey are actually a pretty cool rock band, you know, like Chicago and Blood, Sweat, and Tears and Santana, you know, really skilled, really nimble instrumentally, and really diverse enough to be able to make music that was popular and creative and very commercially successful as well. So happy 60th to Mr. Neal Schon, and see you all next time.